let me take you through the big day today between Israel and Gaza. There were hostage exchanges that happened today, which marks really the end of the war. But of course, questions now being asked if this truly is the end. Today was a big day for Israel, for Gaza, and for the world. Is this truly the end of the war between Israel and Hamas? The last 20 living hostages held by Hamas in Gaza finally were released today. That ends more than 700 days of captivity. Families in Israel broke down as they embraced their loved ones, while in Gaza, freed Palestinian prisoners that were held in Israel prisons were all welcomed home in Gaza by cheering crowds. As part of the deal, Hamas handed over 20 survivors to the Red Cross, while 28 deceased hostages, those who were held captive but died, will be returned to Israel for identification. In exchange, Israel freed nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, including 250 serving life terms, detained since October 7, 2023 attacks that killed over 1,300 people and led to the abduction of hundreds. On the Gaza side, nearly 65,000 people have died, largely women and children, after this war began. In a dramatic address today to the Israeli parliament, US President Donald Trump declared the long and painful nightmare is finally over, calling it the dawn of the new Middle East. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu introduced Trump as Israel's greatest friend in the White House, thanking him for securing hostage release. And he's also now going to be awarded the president's highest honors to Donald Trump for helping bringing peace there. But even with the ceasefire, the humanitarian toll remains massive. Over 2 million Palestinians across the Gaza Strip are now displaced. They're living in tents, overcrowded shelters, barely any food, limited water, poor sanitation. The next phase of peace talks will focus on Hamas's disarmament. In fact, their exit from power in Gaza. They've got to now put down their weapons and move out of Gaza entirely. That's what they have promised as part of the peace plan. But will they do it is the big question. For Hamas to disarm is really going to take a lot. So is this Trump's peace plan really enough to convince Hamas to now disarm themselves as well, is a big question. Experts do warn that the group is unlikely to give up its weapons or power entirely, or so easily, in fact. Trump's speech there in Israel was briefly interrupted, in fact, today by an opposition member who held a placard in Israel today reading "Recognize Palestine." So do remember that the tussle here is not over. The struggle, of course, continues, because now you have people in Gaza and Palestinians and those who support Palestine wanting for a Palestine state to be recognized, which Israel has not. Israel, of course, refutes it, saying there is no two-state policy, we will not allow it. But you have many, many countries across the globe who supported a two-state policy. So recognizing Palestine is now going to be the future step. Is Trump going to be involved in that? Trump, of course, was dumbfounded when a question from the opposition leader was asked, or rather a placard was held saying recognize Palestine, while he spoke in Israel today. And that's the larger question here tonight. Will this ceasefire really hold? Can Gaza's fate be decided without addressing the West Bank? Can peace come when radical groups refuse Israel's right to exist? Well, as world leaders gather in Sharm El-Sheikh, will they seek real peace or just praise Trump's diplomacy? For now, what's really welcome here is that at least hostages are finally home and a painful chapter may just be closed. We're hoping that Israel does not continue to pound Gaza, at least from now. And what's going to be the fate of a Palestine state, only time will tell. Let me quickly bring in our guests for a little clarity on this, on how far and how long this peace will remain and what's the next step that we should look out for. Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former Indian diplomat. We also have Arjun Hardas, who's the Indian representative, American Jewish Committee. Thank you very much. Ambassador Mahesh, your take first, sir, on the war that's ended. This is quote unquote said by Donald Trump repeatedly, saying, I'm so glad and so honored. You know, that's also very odd to hear Trump say, I'm so honored to bring peace here. I'm so honored to do this. This was tragic. It was sad to see people dying on both ends. Gaza completely battered, children dying to that extent, hostages from Israel still kept, in fact, what's really sad is that there are nearly 28 hostage corpses of the hostages that yet has to reach the families. So people dying on both ends, 2 years on this war, and finally this hostage exchange has happened. But do you really believe that this peace is long-lasting, especially since Trump is involved?
Thank you for having me. I think you have asked a very, very important but unanswerable question. Uh, Trump might have said a lot of things, but his capacity to implement the peace dividend and to get uh, Hamas to agree to disarm and move on, melt in thin air, uh, and to put in place an international stabilizing force, reform Palestine Authority, and put it in charge of Gaza as well as West Bank, move on the pathway towards a two-state solution, as one of the points in the 20-point program talks about. These are very loaded questions. Simply put, but extremely complex when it comes to implementation. So my advice would be to keep a ladle full of salt ready, just in case. One wishes Trump and other stakeholders all the success. The region and Israel, Gaza, West Bank have been pinning for peace for quite some time, and one does hope that this harbings that wish being granted. But I have to hedge my bets. Thank you.
Okay, I will come back to you and, of course, Arjun Hardas on a little more on whether Hamas is readily going to give up power, because that is one of the clause as part of Trump's peace plan that he's drawn out. So far, so good. Trump has successfully done it. He's at least managed to convince both sides that prisoner exchange or hostage exchange has to happen, and that has happened. So kudos to Trump on that front. But what's the next step? Will there be a bid to recognize an independent Palestine state? Well, before I get to Arjun Hardas, a quick look at what Benjamin Netanyahu said in praise of Trump, glorifying him to bring this deal to life, and Trump on this war ending.
This is your first visit to Israel since you recognize Jerusalem as our capital and moved the embassy here. Thank you, President Trump, for that. Thank you for standing up to the lies against Israel in the United Nations. I have submitted your nomination to be the first non-Israeli recipient of the Israel Prize, Israel's highest award. As to that other prize, just a question of time, you'll get it. But I want you to get the Israel Prize, our highest award. May God bless America, may God bless Israel, and may God bless the covenant between our two promised lands. Thank you, Mr. President.
Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together. You think we settled 8 wars in 8 months. I'm now including this one, by the way, if that's okay. They may say, well, that was quick, because yesterday I was saying 7, but now I can say 8. The hostages are back. The hostages are back. It is a good feeling. Isn't that nice to say? I just said the hostage. First time I said the hostages are back. It feels so good to say it. No, and my personality actually is all about stopping wars, and it seems to work. It seems to work.
Well, there you have it. Arjun, on your take on that, you hear that very clearly. Trump, of course, really taking pride in this, and well, he should to a certain extent. I'm not too sure if this is a moment of that much happiness as well, because you have people dead on both sides in such large-scale massacre that's happened. Trump saying that this is a new dawn, but is it? Can Hamas really give up power so easily? What about recognizing a new Palestine state, or recognizing a Palestine state? Not new. Beg your pardon on that.
Nabila, thank you for that. When it comes to a Palestinian state, let's mention two things. One is that in 2005, the Israelis withdrew completely from Gaza, completely. Not a single Jew, dead or alive, was left in Gaza. Graves were dug up and taken back to Israel. Everything was handed over to the Gazans. At that time, 2005, the Palestinian Authority, and then there were elections. Hamas won, and Hamas carried out literally a coup in Gaza and overthrew the central Palestinian PLO government, Palestinian Authority government, and overthrew literally, as in they threw them off the road, off the high-rise buildings, on the rooftop of high-rise buildings. So what did they do with it? We know. For the last, as soon as the Hamas took over, the first thing they did, literally the first thing they did, was start firing rockets the next day, literally the next day. So they've had that option, especially in the last, let's say, from the UN partition plan of 1947, 29 May, 29 December, where a Palestinian state, Arab Palestinian state, was offered. They refused. Subsequently, there have been multiple, including the latest one, not latest, but the best offer they got in 2000 under Clinton and Prime Minister Ehud Barak, where they were given 96% of the West Bank. They were given East Jerusalem. They were given land swaps, so that 4%, which they were not getting of the West Bank, was to be exchanged with territory inside Israel as a land swap. They refused. So, the whole point about recognizing a Palestinian state, fine. But what are they do? But are they going to accept it in the first place? Talks have to happen. Who are they talking to? The president right now, the Palestinian Authority, hasn't had elections for the last 20 years. He's been in place for a 4-year term. So coming to that is a separate thing. Now coming to your main point about is there a new peace, a new dawn, etc. It's a ceasefire. It's been classified as a ceasefire deal. While people may not like that option, it's not a peace treaty. Hamas is very clear in its agenda. They have been openly saying it in Arabic and in English, wherever they can say it, that they do not intend to recognize or negotiate or talk to or speak with any way with an Israeli state. With Jews, they plan to eliminate every single Jew. It's not a secret. It's not me saying it. This is in their agenda. They openly said it. It's written there in public. As a matter of fact, there was a Hamas leader who spoke about 5 days after 7th October, and he was asked that by a foreign media house. He was asked that, would you have done what you did on 7th October had you come to know about the kind of destruction that would begin? And that was just 6 days after 5 to 6 days after the Gaza operation began. He said, yes, absolutely, it's worth it. As long as they can kill Jews, it's worth it. This is exactly what he said. So do they intend to sit down and give up their arms and evacuate? No, that's going to be a death knell for them. They are not going to leave the Gaza Strip. They're not going to disarm. They're not going to hand over anything. What's going to happen next? Well, depends on what can be enforced by the Americans and by the others. Now, the thing is also to be remembered is that they have had massive support, even before 7th October, from certain countries. Qatar and Turkey have always supported them. Now, what has changed? To some extent, Qatar and Turkey are getting what they want. In Qatar's case, for example, they're getting from Trump, they're getting a security blanket, and as soon as they get that, they'll literally dump the Hamas. That what do we need you for anymore? So they are stuck in that corner. It's up to the Hamas leadership or whatever is left of them, or even the followers. Not everybody can be a leader. If they want to survive, they should get out. Take the offer. They are being offered. It's a different point if nobody wants them. That's a separate issue. but they should take the offer, leave, set up what can be done. And
It
see where
almost
it
looks
goes.
like a doctrine. Yeah. But that's what's scary, right? Because in the name of jihad and wanting to secure your land, they could turn jihadis, which means you're willing to die, you're willing to kill, you don't care of your own life or others, as long as you get your land, and that's the doctrine that the Hamas follows. So it is scary, and we've got to see what America can really do to ensure peace within that region. I really apologize, Arjun and Ambassador Mahesh. That's all I have time for here today. We will surely continue tracking the story very closely. Thank you very much. All right, let me quickly cut across to all our top stories on day tonight. Let me start with our top story on Lalu Prasad Yadav, a big setback for the RJD. Massive blow to RJD chief Lalu Prasad Yadav. Delhi's Rouse Avenue court has framed charges in the IRCTC scam, turning the long-running probe into a full-scale criminal trial now. The court has said Lalu was fully aware of the transfer of BNR hotels in Ranchi and Puri, and that there was a common interest between the accused. Charges of cheating, conspiracy and corruption have been framed against him under IPC 420, 120B and the Prevention of Corruption Act. His wife, former Bihar Chief Minister Rabdi Devi, also face forgery charges here in what the CBI calls a solid and cogent evidence chain, linking the family to a land for jobs racket. Politically, the timing, of course, couldn't be worse. The NDA now is finalizing its Bihar seat-sharing formula. RJD, who's in alliance with the Congress there, hoping to come to power here, really finds itself on the defensive. For Tejasvi Yadav, who really hoped for a nice comeback this election, the question is, will the court's battle now overshadow his campaign? All right, cutting across to Karnataka, a fresh political storm in Karnataka now. Minister Priyank Kharge in Karnataka has urged Chief Minister Siddaramaiah to ban all RSS activities in Karnataka's government premises. That includes schools, colleges and public grounds. The Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, has asked the Chief Secretary to review this proposal and take immediate action. The move follows the suicide of a 26-year-old Kerala techie who alleges in a 15-page suicide note allegedly that he was sexually abused at RSS camps as a child, naming one individual and describing years of trauma that he went through. Congress leaders have now demanded a full probe. Priyanka Gandhi has called this as absolutely horrifying, said that RSS must come clean on this and that they must be named in the FIR as well. BJP leaders accusing Priyanka Kharge of trying to play politics here. State President V.Y. Vijayendra in Karnataka says RSS has made immense contributions and warned against defaming the RSS. Well, we know RSS is celebrating 100 years of its service in India, and here this allegation here casting a shadow on the RSS's centenary celebrations, with the Congress mounting pressure for some of the RSS members to be booked in the FIR, and Karnataka government now taking a clear stand that they don't want to allow any RSS events in government schools or premises because of this very case. Let's hear it from Chief Minister Siddaramaiah.
RSSನವರು ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಜಾಗಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಸ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೆಟರಿಗೆ ಪರಿಶೀಲನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Quickly cut across to Kerala. Actor turned Union Minister Suresh Gopi has offered to step down from the Modi cabinet, citing a sharp drop in his personal income since taking office. Suresh Gopi, who is a union minister, he won from the BJP. He's now decided, or at least he's suggested, that he does not want to be a minister anymore because he feels that his income has dropped by not acting and just doing politics. He's even named his replacement. He says he prefers a replacement. Rajya Sabha MP C. Sadanandan Master, a CPIM tax survivor who lost both his legs in political violence in 1994, could be a fitting alternative to him, he says. Suresh Gopi says BJP's first Lok Sabha MP from Kerala has been reluctant to accept any ministerial post. He says, I never even wanted a minister's post. This is what I told reporters. This is what he says. I want to quit, and well, can it really, the man that who's been given a ministry like that, can he really step aside at this point? Will the NDA take this well? Let's listen in what Suresh Gopi has to say.
എനിക്കും സിനിമ തുടരണം, ഒരുപാട് സമ്പാദിക്കണം, എൻ്റെ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെവിടെ എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല. ഒപ്പം എൻ്റെ ആ വരുമാനത്തിൽ വിശ്വസിക്കുന്ന കുറച്ച് ആൾക്കാർ, അതിൽ കുറച്ച് പേരെ എനിക്ക് സഹായിക്കണമെങ്കിൽ പണം വരുമാനം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നിലച്ചു പോകാൻ പാടില്ല. ഇപ്പോൾ നല്ല തോതിൽ നിലച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഞാനൊക്കെ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്